Hey guys, welcome back. Exciting video over here. I'm going to show you how to use the ASDM utility to manage your ASA firewall. All the management that we've done so far on the ASA firewall is through CLI. The other alternative to the CLI management is ASDM, although I still prefer doing the CLI because I know the commands pretty well, so it's a little quicker to do it. But if you are getting used to the ASDM gives you a graphical way of doing the same things that you do from your CLI. All right. In order to do that, we are going to use the HTTP protocol to set it up. Actually, it's HTTPS. We'll take a look at how to do that in this particular lab. So what are the main topics? As I said, remote management using HTTP with ASDM. We'll take a look at the configuration commands on the ASA firewall, and then I'll also take a look at what the ASDM utility looks like and the configs that we've done and where would you see them inside ASDM. So let's jump right into it. Remote management with HTTPS, the first thing that you need to do is enable HTTP server. On the ASA. We're going to set that up. Once that's done, just like Telnet and SSH, I need to enable it on a particular interface, specifying the source, IP, and the mask, and the interface. Create a username and password combination. Link the HTTP authentication to the local database, just like we have been doing for Telnet and SSH. ASDM is the application that will allow you the ability to manage your firewall using the graphical user interface, the GUI. You can either browse to the, if you don't have ASDM installed, you can just go in and browse to the ASA firewall. It allows you the ability to download the ASDM and install it, or you might have it installed. It's just a small little utility that you install on your PC, your admin PC. All right. HTTP also requires a username password combination, just like SSH did, and we'll do it based on the local database over here as well. So again, the commands to do it. First of all, you need to enable the HTTP server globally, then specify it on the interface. It should be just like on the other ones. I would just match it based on what we've done in the other ones. Source IP and mask. Just like we have on Telnet and SSH. Once that's done, create the username password. I would also put the privilege over here, because there are certain characteristics over here that require the privilege to be set to 15, which is the highest privilege that gives you all admin capabilities. So that's why this needs to be done. Change the color to something different so that I can differentiate it. Let's do green for this guy over here. So that takes care of this. AAA authentication, AAA console to the local. Again, local is case sensitive. Based on this is the lab topology that I have, the same topology that we've been using, but now at this time I'm going to involve this PC. The PC is on the 1020 network, which is connected to E01 on R1. We've already done the routing, so ASA should be aware of the 1020 network. The PC has a default gateway pointing to R1. I'll show you the PC, and I'll show you the route on the ASA firewall pointing towards the 1020.20 network. So my reachability is there before I start doing the HTTP configuration. So first of all, let's go to the ASA firewall. Let's see if I have a route for the 1020 network. It's right over here. I was running OSPF in one of the labs that this is built up from. On R1, I ran OSPF, show IP. Actually, I can do show run section OSPF or section router. Notice I'm running OSPF and enabling network 10 on all in OSPF 0. That includes network 10 over here. So this is the 1020 network, 10.1 and 10.11 network. So the ASA is aware of it. In terms of the PC, which is the 10.20.20 network PC, let's check the IP config over here on the PC. It has 10.20.20.99 as the IP. The default gateway is 10.20.20.1. I should be able to ping 10.11.11.10, which is the IP address of your ASA firewall. So the connectivity is there. So again, because ping is allowed by default, I can ping the ASA inside interface. Now I'm ready to set up my ASA for HTTP management. How do I do it? HTTP server enable. That enables the HTTP server. HTTP, specify the network that you want to allow to come in, which is 10.20.20.0, which is coming from the inside network. And that is because the lab required me to do it. This lab builds on the SSH lab, configure remote management of the ASA firewall from the inside using HTTP for ASDM access. It should only be allowed for the 10.20.20.0 network from the inside interface. We've done that. Create a user called Kowar with a password Cisco123 and a privilege level of 15. HTTP should use the configured local username password for authentication. So again, let's go ahead and do that. So username, Kowar, password is Cisco123 with a privilege of 15. AAA, authentication, HTTP console, local. So everything is done based on that local database, which now has Kowar as a username password with a privilege of 15. Now that I've done that, I've allowed ASDM to access my Cisco ASA firewall from a graphical interface. What does it look like? Let's go to my ASDM utility, which I've installed over here on the device. It's a normal utility. Double click on the executable file, the installation file, next, and it's installed. The device IP address 10.11.11.10, which is the ASA firewall IP address. The username is Kowar, and the password is Cisco123. Remember the username, so the next time around, it will remember the username, not the password. You still need to put the password in. Click on continue with the certificate. And it's logging into my ASA firewall. Gives you a lot of different graphs about the performance of the device. The iOS is displayed, so it's a nice utility to get you a more overall holistic picture of what the device is doing right now. So now, if I make it a little bigger, so we can see it a little better. That's your ASDM utility. Tells me that I'm running ASA 9.8. ASDM version is 7.8. It's a routed firewall. The memory it has, the number of CPUs it has, how much flash it has. These are my interfaces. I have the DMZ3, DMZ4 interfaces, the IP addresses that I set inside interface, the outside interface, the status of the interface. It also gives you some statistics in terms of the CPU utilization, memory utilization, traffic status. All that type of stuff is given to you guys over here. All right. Now, if you want to configure anything, you go to the configuration tab. Let's say you want to do routing configuration. That's over here. Static routes would be over here. OSPF, which we have configured, would be down over here. The interfaces that I've enabled it on, if I want to enable it. Authentication, if I want to enable it, it's all over here. Setup is over here. I'm running OSPF process ID 1 right now. The area or networks that I have, these are right over here that I'm running OSPF on the 3, the 4, and the 10.11 network. Everything that I've done is over here. If I wanted to add another interface, I can do it over here. All right, BGP that I've configured, I did have BGP configured for IPv4. So general, it is going to tell me the information about general characteristics, the neighbor that I have that I've configured, 192.1.20.2. That's where you would add another neighbor if you wanted to do that. So all these things are there. The other good thing, let's say later on you want to do a certain task, like for setting up certain characteristics, there's VPN wizards, there's high availability wizards. So it allows you the ability to answer certain questions to get your configuration up and running. Especially useful if you're getting used to the ASA and you don't know the commands by heart. This is a way of doing it. And some of the wizards will help you, like the AnyConnect VPN wizard is almost a requirement because it creates an XML file, that will be downloaded to the client. You cannot do it from the command line. So these type of things, you would need to use the ASDM to do it. All right. So it's a good tool to get you started with the ASA firewall. And the way I allowed access to the ASA firewall for ASDM was by doing these commands: enable HTTP server, allowed HTTP to come in from the 10.20.20.0 network from the inside interface. I also created the username. Let me put that over here. The way I had done it, privilege of 15 and then linked up my local database for HTTP authentication. And I then connected it using the ASDM utility on the PC to manage it. All right, so that's how you do remote management. So in this particular section of the video series, we took a look at the management aspect. How do you do management using Telnet, SSH, and then at the end using ASDM, using HTTP as a protocol. Hope you guys have a good grasp of how to allow remote management to the ASA firewall. Join us for the next section in which we'll be discussing NAT in detail. Thanks for joining. See you guys in the next video.